Good morning, Shabbat Shalom from Temple Emeth in Teaneck, New Jersey. It is so lovely to have everyone joining us virtually on this beautiful Shabbat morning. First of all, I'd like to welcome Mark Klausner, a Temple member, to our Bima. He'll be helping me lead services this morning. I am Cantor Ellen Tillum, and Rabbi Stephen Serbu is on his well-deserved vacation. Yes, it's a little joke within our congregation, but it is true that the rabbi deserves a vacation. I will get my well-deserved vacation in 2 weeks. So it's lovely to see you all. This morning we'll be using Mishkan Tefillah, so take a moment right now and bring your prayer book to the screen. If you don't have a copy, you can access one, preferably on a second device, from the live stream page of our website, emeth.org/livestream, by scrolling down to the section that says, to access the Siddur, the prayer book, and then clicking through to the link that says Mishkan Tefillah for Shabbat. This version will have the same page numbers that we will be using and will be shown on your screen during the service. Please also take a moment to greet your fellow worshipers by posting Shabbat Shalom or other fun and exciting things in the comments section located in the chat. And you can do that. You can say, hi, how are you doing? Let people know how your week was. Let people know what you love about Temple Emeth. By doing this, we create bonds of community, even virtually, over the internet. We begin our service this morning with an opening song, which can be found on page 192. Please join me in singing Ma Tovu. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Ma tovu alecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Vani biravchastecha, avodeitecha, eshtachave elecha kadshecha, biratecha, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Adonai ahavti me'od beitecha, kom mishkan kivodecha, vani eshtachave echra, evrecha libnei Adonai osi. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la. Vani tefilati cha Adonai, et ratzon, Elohim biravchastecha, aneni be'emet yishecha. Yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la, yalla la 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 la.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar umafli la'asot. My God, the soul you have given me is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it with me. For as long as my soul is within me, I offer thanks to you. Adonai, my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls, praised are you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai, asher biado nefesh kol chai, beruach kol besar ish.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sachvivina liavchin ben yom uvein laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam chokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kifuvim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Rukah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam amechlin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten laya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam amavir sheina meinai unumame afapai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. There are 8 degrees in the giving of tzedakah, each one higher than the one before, to give grudgingly, reluctantly, or with regret. To give less than one should, but with grace, to give what one should, but only after being asked to give before one is asked. To give without knowing who will receive it, although the recipient knows the identity of the giver. To give without making known one's identity. To give so that neither giver nor receiver knows the identity of the other. To help another to become self-supporting by means of a gift, a loan, or by finding employment for the one in need. I seem to be lost.
On page 223, Mark will continue by reading, "You shall always be praised."
You shall always be praised, great and holy God, our sovereign in heaven and on earth. Songs of praise and psalms of adoration become you, acknowledging your might and your domination, and your dominion. Yours are strength and sovereignty, sanctity, grandeur, and glory always. We offer our devotion, open our hearts in acclamation.
Yitgadal v'yitgadal shemei Rabbah v'amad yivarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechan u'v'yamechan u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael bagala u'v'zman kariv v'imiru amen. Yehish me Rabba mevarach le'alam olam me'alamaya yetbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitwamam v'yitnasei v'yitadal shemei d'kudisha b'richu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata Damiran me'alma v'imiru. Amen. We rise for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha berachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam bechochma asita, mal'a ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha. Ve'al me'orei or she'asita yefa'arucha sela, or chadash al tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh chulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hameorot. Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical leaving, having heard Lech Lecha, go forth. God disturbs us toward our destiny by hard events and by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael bi'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'ayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam ve'shivtecha beveitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech Uv'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha ve'ayu letotavot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mizuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice.
Mi chamocha va'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, noa tehilot עושה פלא. שיר החדש שבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדכן אומך יהודה וישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We turn to page 242, and we continue with the tefillah. Please rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, Eloyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Akol v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot Umevi Geulah Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atarav Le'oshia Morid HaTal Mechakel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei Akol Berachamim Rabim Samech Noflim Verofech Cholim Umartir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Micham Bocha Bal Givurot Umidam Melach Melech Meimit Umechayeh Umatmiach Yeshua V'nemanata le'achayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hakol Nikadesh et shimcha ba'alam Keshem shemakdishim oto bishmei maram Kakatuv al yad neviyecha V'kara zel ze ve'amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot Melech haaretz Kevado Adir, Adireinu Adonai Adoneinu Madir Shimcha B'chol haaretz Baruch Kivod Adonai Mimkomo Echad Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Behu Yashmienu Berachamav Leinei Kol Chai Ani Adonai Elohechem Yimalach Adonai le'olam Elohayich Tzion Ledor vador Hallelujah Ledor vador nagid God lecha ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד.
Baruch atah Adonai Hael HaKadosh.
We now continue on page 250 as the cantor sings Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam b'rit olam B'nei u'b'nei Yisrael od hileolam ki sheshet yamim aseh Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz u'vayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash.
We now continue on page 257. Top of the page. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. Modim anachnu lach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. Modim anachnu lach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. Modim anachnu lach. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. Modim anachnu lach. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. Modim anachnu lach. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom. Modim anachnu lach. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. Modim anachnu lach. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulcha na'eh lehodot. We oughtn't pray for what we've never known and humanity has never known. Unbroken peace, unmixed blessing, no. Better to pray for pity, for indignation, discontent, the will to see and touch, the power to do good and make new. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael, bashalom.
We take a moment now in silent prayer, each of us having the opportunity to share the deepest thoughts, prayers of our hearts with God, to remind ourselves of the beauty of Shabbat, the rest that it brings, and how much each of us needs this time in our week to consider our lives, to pray for others, to pray for ourselves. So I invite you now to take a moment in silent prayer and meditation.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו אמן.
What a pleasure it is to sing with Mark Klausner on the Bima in person. We haven't done that in way too long. Thank you, Mark, for that. Lovely.
Thank you.
At this time, it's my honor to call upon Marion Wolf, who will give us a short introduction to why she is reading this particular section of the Torah portion, and then to, in her very special style, read Torah for us. I'm excited. I love when Marion reads Torah. And in just a minute, we'll also be inviting Ida Jean Fisher to say the blessing for the Torah, to be called up for an aliyah. And I also want to thank Ida Jean for sharing her beautiful voice with us this morning as she sang Mi Chamocha just a few minutes ago. Marion Wolf.
Many years ago, I had a subscription to Outside magazine, and I read a very interesting article all about a hiker who pushed a stone off the trail, which fell down the mountainside and hit and killed someone hiking down below. Little did I know that the same issue about whether something is an accident or something is a deliberate killing is in the Torah, in this portion. The part that I'm going to read first explains the cities of refuge and then talks about the difference between manslaughter and murder. Because back in those days, there was a blood avenger who had to kill a murderer, but should not be killing someone guilty of manslaughter. So without further ado, I'm crossing the bima.
And we call upon Ida Jean Fisher to the Torah to have the aliyah.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim venatan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, Daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem. Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, Ki atem ovrim et hayardain, artza Canaan, when you cross the Jordan to the land of Canaan, v'hikritem lachem arim, you shall appoint for yourselves cities, arei miklat tihiena lachem, cities of refuge they will be for you. V'nas shama rotseach, makeh nefesh bishgaga, and there the person guilty of manslaughter who killed someone by accident shall flee. V'hayu lachem he'arim lamiklat migoel, and they shall be for you cities of refuge from the blood avenger. V'lo yamut harotseach ad amdo lifnei ha'edah lemishpat, and the person guilty of manslaughter shall not be put to death until he stands before the community in judgment. V'he'arim asher titenu sheish arei miklat tihiena lachem, and the cities that you're giving over for this purpose, there shall be 6 cities of refuge, sheish arei miklat tihiena lachem, for you. Et shalosh he'arim titnu me'ever liardain ve'et shalosh he'arim titnu be'eretz Canaan. 3 of the cities will be on this side of the Jordan, and 3 of the cities in the land of Canaan. Arei miklat tihiena livnei Yisrael v'lager v'latoshav b'tocham. They shall be cities of refuge for the children of Israel, for the stranger, and for the one who dwells in your midst. Tihiena sheish ha'arim ha'ela shall be these 6 cities. Sheish ha'arim ha'ela limiklat lanus shama kol makeh bishgaga, to which anyone who has killed a soul by accident shall flee. Ve'im bichli varzel hikahu v'yamot, rotseach hu mot yumat harotseach. If with an instrument made of iron he hits him and he dies, he's a murderer, and the murderer shall surely be put to death. Ve'im be'even yad asher yamut ba hikahu. If with a stone held in the hand that could kill someone, he hits him, v'yamot, and he dies, rotseach hu mot yumat harotseach. He's a murderer, and the murderer shall surely be put to death. O vichli eitz yad asher yamut bo, or with a piece of wood held in the hand which could prove lethal. Hikahu v'yamot, he hit him and he died. Rotseach hu mot yumat harotseach. He is a murderer, and the murderer shall surely be put to death. Goel hadam hu yamit et harotseach befig ovo. The blood avenger shall slay the murderer when he meets up with him. Hu yamitenu. That's when he shall kill him. Ve'im besin'ah yedafenu. If with hatred he pushed him, o he shlich alav b'zdiyah, or threw something on him on purpose, v'yamot, and he died, o be'eva hikahu biyado v'yamot, or with hatred he hit him with his hand, and he died. Mot yumat hamakeh, then surely you shall put to death the one who dealt this blow. Rotseach hu goel hadam yamit et harotseach befig ovo. He is a murderer, and the blood avenger shall kill the murderer when he meets up with him. Ve'im befeta, but if suddenly, below Eva, without hatred, hadafo, he pushed him, o he shlich alav kol kli, or dropped on him any kind of instrument, below tzdiah, not on purpose, o v'chol evan, asher yamut ba, even with a stone that could kill someone, below ra'ot, but he didn't see. Vayapel alav, it fell on him, v'yamot, and he died. V'hu lo oyev lo, v'lo mivakesh ra'ato, but he's not his enemy, and he doesn't seek to do him any harm. V'shaftu ha'edah, bein hamakeh uvein goel hadam. Then the community shall judge between the one who dealt the blow and the blood avenger, al hamishpatim ha'eleh, according to these laws. V'hitzilu ha'eda et harotzeach miyad goel hadam. And the community shall rescue the one guilty of manslaughter from the hand of the blood avenger. V'heshivu oto ha'eda el ir miklato. The community shall return him to the city of his refuge, asher nas shama, to which he fled, v'yashav ba ad mot hakohen hagadol, asher mashach oto b'shemen hakodesh. And there he shall dwell until the death of the high priest, whom they anointed with the holy oil.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. At this time, we say a prayer for healing. We think of those who are in need of healing, spiritual healing, emotional healing, healing of body, healing of spirit. And certainly, as our world is a difficult and broken place with so much need for healing, our prayers become exceptionally important. The prayers that we have for others, especially for those that we don't even know, someone that we've heard about on the news, read about in the paper. Those prayers are the most important, the anonymous prayers, the ones that truly help with healing. And we also pray for those we love, family members, loved ones, neighbors, fellow congregants, ourselves. At this time, if you'd like to put a name for healing in the chat, you can do so. That would be beautiful and appropriate. You will see, as I'm singing, the Mishaberach list, the list of those in need of healing, scrolled on the screen next to me. And to that list, we add also Phyllis Cohen and Howard Schlechtman. We continue at this time as I sing Mishaberach. Mishaberach avotenu mikol habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikol habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. At this time, it is my honor to ask Peter Adler to share some beautiful words of Torah with us from his home. And so we will be bringing Peter Adler up on the screen. And Peter, I'm so looking forward to sharing the insight that you have about our Torah portion today.
Thank you, Cantor. Shabbat Shalom. Here's my Dvar Torah on today's portion. Parshat Matot, which is the Hebrew word for tribes, discusses laws of vows, the destruction of Midianite towns, and the negotiations of the Reubenites and Gadites to settle land on the other side of the Jordan River outside the land of Israel. In Parshat Maseh, Hebrew for journey, which we generally read in July or early August, the lunisolar Hebrew calendar contains up to 55 weeks. In some leap years, for example, 2014, Parshat Matot was read separately. In most years, all coming years until 2035, Parshat Matot is combined with the next Parshat Maseh to help achieve the number of weekly readings needed. In Maseh's seventh reading, Aliyah, kinsman of Zelophehad, I can never get that word right, a man of the tribe of Manasseh who had died without leaving a son, appealed to Moses and the chieftains regarding Zelophehad's daughters, to whom God had commanded Moses to assign land. Zelophehad's kinsman expressed the concern that Zelophehad's daughters, married men from another Israelite tribe. Their land would be cut off from Manasseh's ancestral portion and be added to the portion of the husband's tribe. At God's bidding, Moses instructed the Israelites that the daughters of Zelophehad could marry only men from their family's tribe, from their father's tribe, so that no inheritance would pass from one tribe to another. And Moses announced the general rule that every daughter who inherited a share was required to marry someone from her father's tribe in order to preserve each tribe's ancestral share. The daughters of Zelophehad did as God had commanded Moses, and they married cousins, men of the tribe of Manasseh. Torah's account of the daughters of Zelophehad is a treasure trove of lessons for the modern-day woman. They paved the way for countless women that came after regarding land rights. But their story is a lot more than that. These wise women of faith showed us the importance of using your voice to ask for what is just. Today's example of using your voice to ask for what is just is the #MeToo women's movement, which struggles with getting laws passed in certain areas of the United States. The Me Too name was first coined in 2006 by Tarana Burke, an advocate for women's rights in New York. Burke wanted a way to empower women who had endured sexual violence by letting them know that they were not alone, that other women had suffered the same experience they had. And in the wake of these disclosures, some of the nation's most powerful people in entertainment, sports, and politics have been exposed for sexually harassing or assaulting others. It's outrageous that the federal laws have not passed against sexual harassment and abuse because Congress is holding out on passing them. Because no laws are being passed, the Me Too members, just as the daughters of Zelophehad in the Torah, stand up and continue to fight for social change. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for that beautiful Dvar Torah, for your insight and inspiration. And it's so nice to see you from your home. Big hugs to Ruth from everybody here.
We are now going to turn to page 586, middle of the page, as the cantor leads us in Aleinu. Please rise, face the east.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lated gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahana v'gor aleinu, kechol amonam, va'anachnu koreim u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad l'shema Ushema Echad.
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We remember those for whom we are observing Shloshim at this time, the 30 days after their passing. We think of Max Levy, friend of Peter and Ruth Adler, Helen Kaplan, great-aunt of Danielle Foyer, Helen Alster, aunt of Nikki Falk, Ted Gourley, cousin of Ida Jean Fisher. We also think of Aryeh Abolitz, Rose Ackerman Koffler, Abe Badian, Joseph Danis, Dennis Eastman, William Gary Eastman, Lillian Goldfarb, Benjamin Greenfield, Henrietta Halberstadt, Joanna Holtzman, Elaine Hopfan, Leo Hopfan, Bertha Kahn, Helen Kahn, Ilse Kahn, Judy Luftig Guardia, Alvin Marcus, Suzanne Pearl, Mildred Pollock, Irving Purcell, Mary Josephine Reynolds, Ralph Rosenthal, Irving Schutz, J. Donald Schwartz, Elfreda Sonnabend, Paul Steinglass, Gloria Tilzer, Mark Toscher, and Devorah Zuckerman. In reading so much and so much commentary regarding the horrible tragedy that happened in Surfside, Florida, and all of those who lost their lives, one person said in an article, "Man plans and God laughs." I don't think that's the appropriate idea at this time. This old Yiddish saying definitely reminds us that we are not in control of the world. However, I assure you, God is not laughing. God is crying with us. God's pain is mingled with our pain, our sadness, and the pain and sadness of all of those families who lost people in that horrible building collapse. And God is watching us and waiting for us to stand up and do something. What is it? What can we do? We can join together. We can come together. We can share in that pain with those who were lost, even if we don't know them, even if we've never met them, even if we've never seen that building before, met those people before. They are akin with our own. We can show that we stand together. One of the most beautiful things that I have seen are the incredible outreach of churches and synagogues in the Surfside area, because people of all faiths were lost, of all backgrounds were lost. People of different faiths have come together to remind us that hope is not gone, that kinship is not gone, that the spirit of fellowship is not gone, that it's there to help us in difficult times, and that God is there to support us in difficult times. And as we take into our hearts all of those who were lost in Surfside, we also take into our hearts Delta and Amoya Brown, the couple that was lost in the tragic house fire in Teaneck just 2 days ago. We pray now with their church, with their community, with their family and friends. We take all of these into our hearts with our own as we join together in the mourners' Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divarach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to those of you who are in mourning, comforting you amongst all of the bereaved of the house of Israel, as together we say, Amen.
I would now like to introduce Ken Scher, who is board member here at Temple Emeth. Ken is calling from his home, and he will give you the announcements for the week.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. On
Shabbat
behalf of the
Shalom.
Board of Trustees, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our Shabbat morning service on live stream. Next Friday night, July 16th, prayers on the Palisades will resume after a one-year hiatus. This year, we'll partner with Congregation Adas Imunu for an in-person service at the State Line Lookout at 6:30 p.m. Everyone is encouraged to wear a Jewish t-shirt and bring a picnic blanket and dinner to enjoy after the service. This service will not be on Zoom or live stream. And next Saturday night, July 17th, Temple Sinai in Tenafly will host Temple Emeth members for an observance of Tisha B'Av at 7:30 p.m. You can participate on Zoom or in person by complying with Temple Sinai's COVID protocols. Finally, if you're looking for some summer reading, the Temple's Adult Education Committee recommends And After the Fire by Lauren Belfer, the choice for the inaugural One Book, One Synagogue program. This award-winning work of historical fiction spans the centuries to address music, anti-Semitism, assimilation, and more. You may purchase a copy of And After the Fire from the Temple office for $13. Thank you to this morning's volunteers in the live stream control booth. Meredith and Allegra Alvaro are at the controls this morning. Remember to keep the weekly email you received Thursday in your inbox all week long. It has the login codes for all of the week's Zoom programming. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you very much, Ken. We're very glad to see you this morning. We now continue on page 604 with the Kiddush for Shabbat morning. Please join the cantor and me. Get your wine or your grape juice ready as we continue.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim.
Tovim. We now continue with the Hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
P'tei Avon. Well, I'm laughing because the challah is on the other side, and here I am with no challah, and it's okay. I mean, I'll have my challah later, but you should all have your challah now. Very important. I do want to let you know that now is the last chance you have to post in the chat, Shabbat Shalom. You could say, thanks to Mark for doing an awesome job on the Bima. What a pleasure it was to share the Bima with Mark today. Yay, we haven't done that in a long time, and I'm so happy to have Mark here on the Bima with me. You could say thanks to Marion Wolf because she did that incredible thing that only she does here at Temple Emeth in all of my years here at Temple Emeth, and there have been 28 of them. Only Marion Wolf actually reads and translates the Torah simultaneously. I love hearing it. I was so glad to be here today when she did that. Marion, thank you so much. You could say Yasher Koach to Peter Adler for giving us some insight into the Torah portion from his home, and thank Peter for giving us a totally new way to look at our Torah portion. Thanks, Peter. You could say, hey, Shabbat Shalom, Ida Jean Fisher, we loved hearing you sing Micha Mocha and hearing you participate as you did the Aliyah in our service this morning. You could even say, hey, Ken Sher, nice announcements. He didn't write them, but he reads them pretty well. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's so lovely to see you all, even virtually. Send me a text or an email after Shabbat so I know you were watching and say, hi, Cantor. I'd love to hear from you. And at this time, we conclude our service as we turn to one another and we say, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.